Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the Slumpbuster Fantasy Football Podcast with Aris, Blakeney, Ep.5, recording here on Sunday, September 22nd, 2019. Find us on all major streaming platforms. Aris is back to help you break down NFL Week 3. And hey, if you're starting off 0-2, help you bust the slump and get back into the win column. Without further ado, welcome to the show.
All right, guys. We got to clear some air real quick, all right? Juju and Dre, they keep clowning me, but we need to clear some air between us, me and the listeners. I need y'all to take me seriously, all right? Yes, I lost 2 of my 3 leagues last week, but one of my leagues, my friend's league, third highest scoring team, I lost that one because I'm 70 points against, higher than the next closest person to me. I'm 0-2 in that league. If you score 100 points in that league, you had a really good week. Both these weeks so far, they've put up 140 on me, which is unheard of in this league. This week I actually get a cupcake, though, because I'm playing Andre. And me and him are both in last place. I don't know how that goes for us being on sports podcasts. But, I mean, hey, you win some, you lose some. My family league, though. Man, this is the one that you guys are, Juju and Dre, are not letting me live down. Yes, I lost to my mother. Yes, she let me hear about it all week long. She also told me I have to tell you listeners that she put up the most points scored in our league's history. It was like 187. I don't know. We don't care about that right now. So I had to tell you guys about that because she said that I had to. So, you got to listen to your mother. But I took all of last week's frustration and my poor sister. I crushed her this week. If Greg the Leg can put up 60 points tonight, she'll beat me. It's unheard of for a kicker to put up 60 points, so unfortunately, I'm sorry. And then I get to rub it in my mom's face now because this week I put up 200 points. The first team ever to break the 200 mark. Most points ever in our league as well. This record might stand the test of time. Nobody may ever break this record, so I got that going for me. So far I'm beating Andre. My work league, I'm up by 12 points right now. He has Cooper Kupp and David Montgomery tomorrow, so it's going to be super close. Tomorrow is going to suck. I'm trying to watch that terrible game. Hopefully, let's go Redskins defense. Shut him down. And hopefully Baker could do something tonight because I'm only beating Andre right now by 1 point. Let's go, Baker. Come on, do something. Baker and Chubb, do something for me because I need some points against Andre. But you know what, guys? That's enough about last week and my fantasy week. Let's actually get into some football. We're going to try to change things up today. We're still going to go through AFC and NFC home games, but we're also going to add in some trade fours and trade aways. Kind of help you guys out because it's getting into those times, where you're going to start to look to possibly trade somebody because waiver wires do tend to start be slim pickings. Hopefully you're not in one of my leagues like I am, where I have 2 people that just relentlessly send trade requests. It doesn't matter what time of day it is, they send trade requests. One of my buddies right now, he is in Singapore, so the time difference is very bad, and he keeps sending them at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And then my cousin in my family league, man, this guy, I get like 17 a day from him. So we'll try to help you out with some of those. As always, we're up on Twitter Sunday morning, helping you out with your fantasy lineup. So always send us those questions at Slumpbuster FFB on Twitter. You could probably also tag Juju and Dre at Slumpbuster Pod on Twitter. They'll answer some questions as well. Juju is pretty knowledgeable at this as well. Andre is not looking like it very much. He's not doing too well. So, haha, Andre. All right, so let's get into some of these games. First one, man, Dolphins at the Cowboys. Cowboys started to run away with this one. They won 6-31. But boy, that first half, the Dolphins could have easily gone into the halftime winning. Holy cow, yeah, they had dropped passes. They just had some terrible mistakes. But, Cowboys did end up coming out with this one. Dak had a modest game. He had 256, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he also had a rushing touchdown. So, people were going, oh, it's going to be Dak, it's going to be Lamar Jackson, and it's going to be Mahomes for MVP. Dak finally came back down to level I think he's going to play at for the rest of this year. With 2 TDs, 1 interception, that's probably about where he's going to be at. He's still going to be a serviceable, starting quarterback if you guys want to get him. So definitely keep an eye on him. Zeke finally came out to play. He had 125 rush yards. Pollard actually got in on this one as well because it was a blowout. He had 103 and the touchdown. So he's going to be somebody to look at for handcuffing. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Cooper had 2 TDs, 88 yards, and Jason Witten, 3 catches, 54 yards. He might be a streaming option. I mean, he's pretty much getting right around 30 to 50 yards. He's getting a couple red zone looks. If you're hurting at tight end, because I know that position is pretty slim, he might be somebody to, weekly stream, bye-week injuries to look at him. Dolphins players. Yeah, if you're playing Dolphins players, you're probably in last place. I don't know why you play Dolphins players, so we're not going to get into them. Next, we got Broncos at the Packers. Broncos lost this one again, dropping to 0-3, 16-27. Flacco had 213 yards, no TDs, 1 pick. But, he kind of screwed me because I have Sanders in the league. Sanders only had 10 yards. Sutton had 87 yards. So those are really going to be the only 2 receivers. By weekend, injury replacements, they're going to be there, guys. Solid flex options. Sanders, you're going to get these, 10-yard games, but you're also going to get those 120 touchdown games as well. So definitely a flex option to, consider, especially moving forward. Next week, we only have 2 weeks on bye, but the following weeks after that, you'll get up to 4 and 6 teams on bye. So he'll definitely be a streaming option along with Sutton. And then the backfield, Phillip Lindsay finally played football with us. He had 81 rushes, 2 TDs, 49 reception yards. And then Freeman had 63 yards, but he had a TD called back on a holding call. Pretty split backfield right now. So for Lindsay right now is still the guy to own in fantasy, but Freeman is definitely somebody to stash. I like him. He's a hard runner. Stash him if you can. Play him, decent flex option, 6 points out of a flex, especially in a standard league. It's a decent. You probably want a little bit more, but it's serviceable. So look for him. And then Rodgers on the Packers side, 235 and 1 touchdown. I don't know what's wrong with Adams. He only had 56 yards. He still doesn't have a touchdown. His time's going to come. Rodgers loves him, so we'll see how it plays out. I'm trying to trade for him in one of my other leagues, so I still do have faith in him, but just hold true to him. He will have those big games. The only other receiver that you'd play out of there is MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He had 99 yards and a touchdown. Solid flex option. You're probably not going to get this production every week, but, maybe 2 or 3 more weeks you'll get production like this. You might even get a couple 100-yard games out of him as well. And then this backfield. Jamal Williams had 19 rush yards, but he had 2 touchdowns, so he saved his day. And then Jamal Williams had 59 yards. Jamal Williams had more touches. game script didn't really favor either back. They're pretty much the same back. So right now they're in a timeshare. It's looking like it's going out to be a timeshare. I'd snag Williams up just in case this continues, but Jones is not looking like an RB1 anymore. He's going to be looking like an low-end RB2, RB3. So just monitor this because, committees are never good. Nobody likes a committee. All righty, next game. This one was kind of a blowout. Nothing really happened for the Raiders except until garbage time. Raiders visited the Vikings. They lost 14-34. Carr had a Carr day. 242, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, Carr's definitely he's probably not your first choice, but he is a really good, backup quarterback, especially if you have Breeze or Cam or Mono Boy. He will, he's had those games in the past where he'll throw for 500 yards. So keep an eye on him, especially with bye weeks. You'll get some decent usage out of him. Josh Jacobs did not have a good day. He only had 44 yards. And the only other 2 guys on this team you'd like, Tyrell Williams had a 3rd touchdown and a 3rd consecutive game. Former Charger. I wish we could have kept him, but money just didn't work out. But he had a touchdown and 36 yards. And then Darren Waller. Hey, he's going to be a starting tight end. Definitely, if you want him on your team, it looks like Carr's go-to guy. He had 134 yards today. Carr's looking like he's going to be trusting him. So, hey, I dig it. And then, man, Cousins. I don't know what is up with this Vikings team. Maybe they're trying to hide Cousins because they know he can't beat teams over 500 and can't win in primetime games. He only had 15 completions, 174 yards, and a touchdown. No picks, so that's pretty good. But, I'm going to be dropping him out of starting quarterback conversation. If you're in a pinch, yeah, grab him. But there's going to be other guys out there. There's 32 quarterbacks. I'd probably put him in the 20s right now because 10 completions, 15 completions, you can't really – or no, the first week he only had 10 pass attempts. This one, 15 completions, so it's not looking good for them. But then, man, Dalvin Cook is putting together a season. He is trying to put his name in conversation of the best back in the league. And, he's making a damn good case for it. Again, 100 yards and a touchdown. He probably would have had a 2nd touchdown, but they pulled him out and played Mattinson, let him rush all over the Raiders. He had a touchdown as well, but and if you have Cook on your team, he is a set it and forget it guy, except for the bye week. Thielen, though, he's probably the receiver to own right now. 55 yards and a touchdown. He also had a rushing touchdown. Diggs only had 15 yards, so it's looking like Thielen is going to still be, low-end or wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2, and Diggs is going to be flex at best at this point. He is. It's been a rough season for him. He's only had that 1 catch for 49 yards and a touchdown last week. That's pretty much his only good game so far. Lions at Philly. This was a fun game to watch. It was back and forth. But, man, there was a call that was missed on Miles Sanders returning a kick. He was returning a kick, came down the side, and some dude, I forget the defensive player's name, reached out his arm to tackle him and grabbed his face mask. Nearly ripped this man's head off. Yet, there was no call. So, NFL refs, I'm sorry y'all missed that one because dude ripped his helmet off and there's still no call. So, it is a bad look for the league, especially with the refereeing problems that they've been having. But football-wise, Stafford, 201 and a touchdown. Kerryon Johnson didn't have a good day. They stopped him pretty well. 36 yards on the ground, 20 yards through the air or receiving. Galladay was held in check, man. 17 yards. It's not what you were looking for Galladay. People have him at wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, so it's not a good day. But Marvin Jones is looking more like a flex player. He had 101 yards and a touchdown. He was on my bench today, so damn it. But yeah, Jones is going to be a flex player going forward. Galladay is still going to be that wide receiver 2. And then, also Hawkinson. Man, he's He's still going to be a receiving option in this league, this year, I mean. He only had one catch for 1 yard, but he did have a touchdown that he dropped. He also had another red zone look, so that definitely helps out going forward. I mean, tight end position, you're kind of, you're pretty much touchdown dependent at the tight end position outside of one or two guys. So Hawkinson, hold fast for him, guys. He'll bounce back from that. On the Philly side now, man, Wentz, this guy, he needs to learn how to slide and stop diving headfirst. That's the reason why he missed out on his MVP year. He would have won MVP, I'm sorry. But, man, this dude needs to learn how to slide. Like, get down. He dove for an end zone on a run, and I was looking back. I was like, this is the same thing that happened when he injured himself against the Rams. And then Philly's playoff hopes are going to die. So he needs to slide. Send him to the Phillies, show him how to slide, do something. I know he's competitive, but you want to have a long career, you need to learn how to slide. He had 259 yards and 2 touchdowns. My guy, Miles Sanders, he's taking control, man. He had 53 receiving yards or 53 rush yards, 73 receiving yards. He outgained Howard on pretty much the same touches. I think he had 3 more touches than Howard did. 126-37. Howard did get the goal line look, though. I think they see him more as a goal line back, and Sanders 20-20 back. And then Ertz. Man, Ertz. Oh. Holy Trinity's not looking good right now. I don't think any one of the 3 has a touchdown right now. Ertz only had 64 yards. I was hoping that since Deshaun Jackson was, out this game, his looks would have gone up, but still only had 64 yards. But this guy, Nelson Aguilar, he pretty much had Deshaun Jackson's role last year before they brought in Deshaun Jackson. He had 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. Deshaun Jackson is still out next week. Look for him to have a similar role in the offense that he had today. All right, next game. It was pretty fun game. Me and Julian had a couple conversations about this one. We'll get into it here in a second. Panthers at Cardinals. Panthers won 38-20. Kingsbury, I'm sorry, but I don't think your offense is going to cut it in the NFL. Or you guys need to upgrade your offensive line. Kyler Murray had 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and he added 69 rush yards. So that's pretty much what you're going to get out of Murray. You're going to get those rush yards, so that's going to definitely help out your day. David Johnson, where you drafted him, you're not getting that output. He had 73 rush yards, 28 receiving yards, and a touchdown. More of like an RB2, RB3, not that RB1 that you were hoping for. His case for 1,000 is, it's kind of out the door now. Christian Kirk, though, he had 59 yards, but he had 10 catches. So that target share we like. He's going to have bigger games if he keeps getting the target share like that, 10 catches on 12 targets. That bodes well for him. And then Larry Fitzgerald, he had 5 catches today, 36 yards, and a touchdown. Fitzgerald only needs 5 more catches to tie Gonzalez for the 3rd place in the all-time catch list and 6 to beat him. So I think he could do it next week. But, man, I actually picked the Cardinals to win this game because Cam was out. Boy, Kyle Allen had himself a day. He had 261 yards, 4 TDs, no interceptions. Me and Julian were talking about, is there a controversy now? I still think this is Cam's team. We'll see how Cam feels next week. If he's questionable, I still think they're going to go with Cam. Julian thinks that Allen, he played himself to another start. So we'll kind of see how this plays out, but I still think it's Cam's team. Run CMC, though. Man, this guy, he's electric. They were worried about him running between the tackles, and then he had a 75-yard touchdown run between the tackles. He had 153 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Run CMC, ball out, bro. He's a set it and forget it guy as well. Greg Olsen had 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyle Allen seemed to rely on him more and more. That bodes well if Kyle Allen plays next week. If not, Cam Newton still loves Olsen. So either way, streaming option, should be on a starting team as well. And then 2 guys that should be on your flex radar as well, not necessarily starting, but definitely flex, is going to be Curtis Samuel. He had 53 yards and a touchdown. And then DJ Moore, 52 yards and a touchdown. Unfortunately, with Moore, you are going to have a fumble risk because he does like to fumble the ball as well. So, be wary of that, but definitely both guys on flex options as well. And the next game, I said it on Juju and Dre's podcast, this was going to be the worst game to watch, but it actually turned out to be one of the best games to watch. Giants at Bucks. Low-key was a really, really good game. Giants pulled this one out 32-31 on a missed field goal by the Bucks. But, man, Eli Manning is done in New York. Unless Jones gets hurt, this is his team now. He had 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 28 rush yards, and 2 more touchdowns. When was the last time Eli Manning had 2 rushing touchdowns? Never. That's when. This is Jones' team. He's going to run away with it. Eli Manning is done. Evan Ingram, with Manning, without Manning, this guy's still going to ball. He had 113 yards and a touchdown. Shepard had 100 yards and a touchdown. Man, Daniel Jones might be able to play ball. But the biggest news out of this game, Saquon Barkley left the game with only 10 yards. So if you played him, I'm sorry. Andre, that was you. But he left injured, high ankle sprain. MRI is going to come tomorrow, so we don't know just yet. Goldman is going to be the guy. A couple years, Goldman was the main back for a couple games. He showed he can handle it, so he's going to be a waiver option. We'll talk about him later. But biggest news, Saquon is hurt, high ankle sprain for sure. We just don't know the severity of it. Give it a minimum of 2 weeks, maximum of 6 weeks. So just make sure if you have him, monitor, or if you need a running back, monitor him so you can grab Goldman. And then, man, Bucks. Winston had 383 touchdowns and an interception. I don't know if they're good. I don't know if they're bad. I have no idea with this team. But we had an O.J. Howard sighting. If you stuck with him between first and second week where he had no points whatsoever. He had 3 catches for 36 yards. Decent game, but, if you stuck with him, good for you. I can't tell you if this is going to be an outlier or if it's a new trend because I don't know the Bucks. I don't know if they're good. I don't know if they're bad. I don't know if they're going to be playoff. I don't know if they're going to be first pick in the draft. Man, they're hard to figure out. But this backfield is even harder. Jones had 80 yards. Barber had 48. Split even in carries. Nobody likes a committee, and they're in a committee. Just monitor it. I know in all my leagues, Jones and Barber are both owned. So, yeah, just be wary of it. And then if you played Godwin, sorry, he only had 40 yards. But if you stuck with Mike Evans, congratulations. He had 190 yards, 3 TDs. So you were loving life today. All those 3 touchdowns came in the first half, and he had 1 catch in the second half, so that didn't bode well, but he came out to play, so good on you if you played him. I know some people were questioning on if you sit him or not, but he's Mike Evans. He's still one of the best receivers in the league. You kind of got to play him, even if it isn't just a flex position. So continue to flex him until we can rely a little bit more on Jameis and Godwin. Continue to flex him as well. I think this is going to be a down week for him. And then O.J. Howard, good luck. All right, Saints at Seahawks. Man, this was a weird game. First half, it was Saints. Second half, it was Seahawks. Saints ended up winning 33-27. And if the defense can step up like they did today, Saints will be all right. Defense and special teams had 2 touchdowns today, so that kind of helped out Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Two Gloves had 177 yards and 2 TDs. Kamara, he's probably going to be the beneficiary of Drew Brees being out. He still had a Kamara game, 69 yards on the ground with a touchdown, 92 through the air with a touchdown. He's pretty much going to be quarterback proof. Thomas had a slower day, 54 yards, but he still did have a touchdown, so I like that. That's probably the only 2 Saints players I would play right now. Can't really trust the tight end in Cook. And then Ted Ginn probably was going to be on the flex radar. Probably not anymore. So just Kamara and Thomas really in that, in that offense. Man, Russell Wilson, I've said this before. I love him and I hate him. In the first half, I was hating my life because I have him on the league. But this man ended up with 406 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 51 yards on the ground, and 2 more rushing touchdowns. Like I said, they look like a better team when they throw the ball, but they want to be a rushing team. So I don't understand it. But man, Russell Wilson, I love you. But I freaking hate you on my fantasy team. And for wanting to be a rushing team, man, Chris Carson got shut down. He only had 53 yards. No touchdowns, no nothing, just 53 yards. And then Lockett, if you had Lockett on your team, this is the week you're finally happy for. He had 154 yards and a touchdown. DK, I like him as a flex option still, 67 yards. He did have 3 red zone looks, so that's really good. Eventually, those red zone looks are going to come to catches and touchdowns. And then Disley, I don't know, Disley, we're going to call him Disley, had 62 and a garbage time touchdown. He might be he's a decent streamer. We can never know because, like I said, they want to be a running team, but they tend to try to they don't want to throw the ball, so it's going to be hard to trust a tight end in this offense. We have one more NFC game, but we're going to wait on that one. So we're going to hop into the AFC home games now. Since he went to Buffalo, and they lost. Buffalo Bills are 3-0, 17-21. They pulled out that win. Dalton had a Dalton game, 249, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Mixon had a decent game, 61 on the ground, 34 through the air, 1 touchdown. Man, if you play John Ross, he's boom or bust. He only had 2 yards. Poor guy. And then Tyler Boyd, 67 yards. Both of their production is going to go way down in 2 weeks when they get back A.J. Green. But, man, Josh Allen. Yeah, he might be your starting quarterback from here on out. He had 243 yards and a touchdown and a pick. But you also always get that, that hope that you're going to get one of those rushing touchdowns. He's turning into a rushing quarterback. Nobody had him doing that coming out of Wyoming. So, you can look for those rushing yards to boost your points for the week, because sometimes he's on the lower end of the passing scale, but those rushing yards will boost you up. Next week they get New England, so probably not. But, still, matchup-wise going forward, I'd look for him to be a streaming option for you. Frank Gore had 76 yards and a touchdown. John Brown had 51 scoreless yards as well. And then we're going to mention Knox. He had 67 and a touchdown. Probably an outlier. I don't see him doing this much more because I've never heard of Knox. I don't think anybody else has. But this man had 1 catch. Remember that Vance McDonald run from last year? Or was it 2 years? I think it was last year, where he caught the ball. He stiff-armed the Buccaneers player into an injury on the side of the field. This man did that, but twice. He did it on the same play. He ran through this defense. It was an awesome play to watch. If you haven't seen it yet, go out on YouTube and look it up. I'm sure it's on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. But this was a pretty fun run. He went beast mode on it and ran through 2 players. Next up is Atlanta at the Colts. Colts pulled this one off, 24-27. Matt Ryan had 304 yards, 3 TDs, and an interception, and another slow start. First half, it was looking terrible for them. Second half, it's when they started to turn up. Freeman had 88 scoreless yards as well. And then, man, Julio. This man is another species. 128, 1 touchdown. He mossed somebody. Some of these catches are just unreal. Julio is. I'm glad he got paid because he deserved it. And then Hooper, 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns, probably not going to happen again this year. But that 66 yards is about where he's going to be at. Jacoby Brissett, 310, 2 touchdowns, no picks. All right. They're 2-1 now. And they're going to be, AFC South contenders for sure. But I was a little wary about him starting, but it's kind of turning out to be something. T.Y. Hilton, 65 and a touchdown. It's pretty much what you can expect out of him point-wise. And then Marlon Mack, 74 and 1. There was an injury concern of him coming into the game. Didn't show much of that concern in the game, but it is something to monitor because calf injuries are kind of like hamstrings. They can tend to linger going forward. Next was everybody's game of the week. Ravens at the Chiefs. Chiefs won this one 33-28. Lamar Jackson, sorry. 267, no TDs, no picks, 46 on the ground, and a touchdown. We can all stop saying this guy is an amazing quarterback. Finally played somebody and had a normal week. First 2 weeks he played Miami, laughingstock of the league. And then he played Arizona that had beat-up corners just left and right. Their whole secondary is out. So he finally played somebody worth something and had a mediocre week. So that's about what you can expect from him going. Mark Ingram had 103 yards and 3 touchdowns. They're a rushing offense, so 100 yards is definitely going to be his norm, and 1 or 2 touchdowns is going to be his norm. So if you have Ingram, keep him. If you can get something better, better trade, or if you're stacked at running back, I'd still keep him. Don't trade him away. Mark Andrews, I said he's going to lead this team in receiving. I was right up to 2 weeks. He only had 15 yards. I'm glad I was telling people to sit him over Waller. That was a pretty common question today. He only had 15 yards, and then Hollywood Brown had 49 yards. He's going to be boom or bust. Don't expect that Miami week every week. It's pretty much going to be boom or bust, feast or famine with him. Patty Mahomes. Can we not have him in the AFC West, please? This guy's going to be. We had Peyton Manning. Now we have Patrick Mahomes. And the Chargers catch a freaking break, please. He had 374 yards, 3 touchdowns. Commentators joked around saying that even when they're on their own 20, they're in the red zone because he threw a touchdown from their own 20. It's going to be a rough year for the Chargers, isn't it, guys? Anyway, McCoy had 54 rushing yards and a touchdown, 26 yards through the air and a touchdown. Darrell Williams, the other D. Williams on the team, he stepped in perfectly for D. Williams and had 62 on the ground, 47 through the air. Now I'm getting them mixed up. Damian Williams, if he is out next week, get the other D. Williams, Darren Williams. Y'all feel me there? If D. Williams is out next week, get D. Williams for the same team. Hardman, him and Robinson have been filling in for that Hill spot pretty good. It's just split between 2 people now. Hardman had 2 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Robinson had 43 yards and a beautiful one-handed grab. Sammy Watkins fell back into his normal role, 5 catches for 64 yards. And then Kelsey, safety blanket there, 89 yards going forward. So if you can, Hardman, Robinson, it's going to be a little hard trying to figure out which one is going to be the one that has the better week. But they're pretty much playing that Hill position. So if you have space or if you need a receiver, look for them. Sammy Watkins, like I said, did go back into his normal role. Oh, man. Jets at Pats. Falk, I'm so sorry, guy. It's your first ever start in the NFL. You had to play the Pats. Rough day for you. You only had 98 yards and a pick. I'm really sorry that you had to play them your first start. Bell, 35 yards on the ground, 28 through the air. Hold on to him because when Mono Boy comes back, he's going to have the week like he had in week 1. Just hold off. Darnold is coming back. He'll pop back up on your radar. Robbie Anderson will pop back up on your radar. Jamison Crowder will pop back up on your radar. So just hold on if you have those guys. Until then, I'd sit everybody, especially Bell, unless they have a super good matchup going forward. On the Patriots side, Brady had 306, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Burkhead filled in perfectly for James White, his wife was having a baby, so congratulations to them. Burkhead had 47 on the ground, 1 touchdown, and 22 through the air. Sony Michel didn't need to do anything. He had 9 carries, 11 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, they really didn't need to do anything. Edelman had 62 and a touchdown. Dorsett had 53 and a touchdown. Like I said, Dorsett is coming back onto your radar now that AB is gone. And then Josh Gordon. Oh, this guy. He's good. Some of these catches he was making, going up and getting it was, like I said, I used to play receiver, so I enjoy these things a little bit more than other people do, but he had 83 yards, and some of the catches were pretty nice. I do want to say this. It's not fantasy relevant, but it was pretty funny. Stidham came in for 1 drive. He had 3 attempts, 2 completions, 1 pick six. He came in late fourth quarter, threw pick six, make it go to 14-30, and then he got benched and Tom Brady came back at the game. It is pretty funny. They already had the game in hand, but Belichick ain't having none of that. Let's talk about that Thursday night game, man. Gardner Minshew. Minshew Mania. Sweeping Jacksonville. Just Jacksonville. Maybe a little bit of the whole nation, but definitely Jacksonville. They have fake mustaches going on. I love this guy. He's hilarious. He had not fantasy relevant at all, but let's talk about him real quick. He got $1 million offer from Cam Soda, which is a porn site, because a report came out that he was doing calisthenics stretching in the locker room in just his headband that he wears and his jockstrap. So Cam Soda was like, hey, sounds like our guy. Let's send him $1 million endorsement deal to where once a week he does a calisthenics class in his headband and his jockstrap, and then be their lead guy for their new line of penis puppets. No idea what that is, but Minshew Mania is taking over. He had 204 yards, 2 TDs, no picks. But like I said before, guys, DJ Chark. You need to get DJ Chark. He had 76 yards and a touchdown. He is their big play guy. Get DJ Chark. If you had Leonard Fournette, a little bit of a rough week, he ended up with 66 yards. I'll tell you how bad of a game it was for him. His longest run was 69 yards. He ended with 66, but his longest run on the night was 69. Bit of a rough day for him. But I mean, hey, they got the win 20-7. So Mariota had 304 scoreless yards, no picks. Henry had 44 yards and a touchdown. Humphreys can be a flex option. He had 93 yards, and then Delaney Walker 64 yards. This next game, guys. I was on a roller coaster. Let me tell you how my Sundays inevitably end up. Always. 2 minutes left in the game. Down by 3 to 8 points. Phil Rivers with the ball. This is how it always ends up. We can never put away a team. We were up 17-7 at halftime. Games we're supposed to win, we lose. Games we're supposed to lose, we win. It's a rough life. me being one of the only Chargers fans in the nation, because we only have like 1,200 fans maybe. LA doesn't want us. We play in a soccer stadium that we can't sell out. It only has 28,000 seats, and we can't sell that freaking thing out. We're on the road every week because we only sell 20,000 tickets, and 18,000 go to the opposite team because they want to come to LA to watch their football. It's just it's a rough life for us, guys. Chargers ended up losing this one 27-20. We should have won this one. We had a Justin Jackson touchdown called back on the final drive to holding. We would have won the game. We had a face mask that would have negated a pick. Philip Rivers was sacked. We just, it's a rough life. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Deshaun Watson, 351 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like I said, normally Chargers are really good against tight ends. All 3 of those touchdowns went to tight ends, so that went against what I always say. But hey, we held DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, and Kenny Stills all underneath 100 yards. Kenny Stills 89, Fuller 51, Hopkins 67. This is gonna be his lowest output of the year, and it came against the Chargers, so I'm pretty happy about that. Hyde also had 19 yards with the touchdown. We should have won this game. But hey, Philip Rivers we trust. He had 318, 2 touchdowns. That's pretty much Philip Rivers. You're going to get 250 to 300 yards and 2 touchdowns with the occasional pick or 2. Austin Eckler had a fallback game, 36 yards on the ground, 45 through the air. Like I said, Justin Jackson had a TD called back. He ended up with 26 yards total. Mike Williams, 45 yards. Man, we had a touchdown dropped as well. Just all of this, man, overshadows Keenan Allen having a phenomenal freaking game. 13 catches, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. This dude is putting together another Pro Bowl year. He already has 400 yards on the year and 3 TDs. He's well on his way to getting that 1,300 yards again. We're going to lose next week to freaking Miami. I already know it. We're going to be 1-3 and lose to Miami. Somebody help me, please, because it's a rough life. I'm going to take a quick break. Alrighty. Back from break. I had to go cry myself to sleep talking about the Chargers. I needed a good cry because Chargers always, man, they just disappoint. But let's get into the game of the week for the Slumpbuster media family. Was the Steelers at the Niners. We had Juju's team against Andre's team. Juju's team ended up pulling up this win, 24-20. The first half was god-awful. Second half, fourth quarter, was where all the action was. Kyle Rudolph looked pretty good, especially in the second half. He had 174 yards, 2 TDs, 1 pick. James Conner, man, he is still a rough outing for him. 43 on the ground, 14 through the air. But Juju Smith-Schuster finally had the game you guys were hoping for. 3 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. That touchdown was a 76-yard jet. This guy just ran past everybody. But, I mean, he already has 2 97-yard touchdowns where he's run past everybody, so 76 is nothing for him. On the Niners side, Jimmy G had 277, 1 TD, 2 picks. I mean, anybody in this backfield you guys can own right now, flex them all. Moster had 79 yards. Breida had 68 and 20 through the air. And then Wilson, Jeff Wilson Jr. Me and Juju are going to start calling him the Vulture. He's had 18 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns came in goal line opportunities. Last week he had a touchdown on goal line opportunity. He is their goal line back. So Moster and Breida, if they don't score, outside of the 10, it's going to be a Jeff Wilson touchdown. Pick any of them up, flex any of them. Kyle Shanahan loves running backs, so they're killing it out there. And then Kittle, like I said, the Holy Trinity. It's been pretty rough for the Holy Trinity. He only had 57 yards. I don't think any of them have a touchdown yet. Him, Ertz, or Kittle, as high as they were drafted, none of them have touchdowns yet. So that's not very good for them. All right, guys, we're gonna head into a new segment, trade calls. I'm gonna tell you a couple people I think you should trade away, and some people you should trade for. So let's just hop right into that. Trade away Stephon Diggs. If you can get some value for him, trade him away. I don't like the volume that Minnesota is putting out through the air. Thielen is the guy to own there, so if you can, trade him away for equal value. Maybe if you're hurting on running backs and somebody's hurting on receivers, maybe I could swap, but trade him away. Trade John Ross away as well. AJ Green is coming back in a couple weeks. He's injury prone. He had 2 blow-up weeks, 1 off week. If he has another blow-up week next week, definitely trade him away because once AJ Green comes back, he's going to kill it. Also, trade away Joe Mixon. It's not been a very good year for him. I don't know if they can. He was drafted pretty high. You're not getting that return back. I would trade him away. People I think you should trade for, AJ Green and Lev Bell. Pretty self-explanatory. AJ Green's going to come back. He's always been a top 10 receiving option when he plays. Trade for him. And then Lev Bell, somebody might be stupid enough to trade him away because once Darnold comes back, he'll be back in that option or back in that conversation for weekly RB1s. All right, so let's hop into the final little bit of the podcast. Some waiver wire options for you guys. Remember, next week is the first week of bye weeks. We have the 49ers and the Jets on bye week. Not really hurting for anybody just yet, but those 2 teams are on bye week, so if you have any of those players, make sure you sit them. You don't want to be that guy in your league that forgets and plays a bye week player. But some players you could pick up, some QBs. Let's go with Case Keenum. Has a favorable matchup next week. Daniel Jones. Looking pretty good. And then Kyle Allen. Or even Josh Allen. Either of the Allen quarterbacks. I'd probably put $2 to $5 on either of these guys. Juju says he'd probably put 10% or 25% on Daniel Jones or even Will Goldman. So, I tend not to like the auction portion of fantasy. I also don't believe on spending a bunch of money. If I were in one of those on just a 1-week guy, I want to have a guy that I can count on, down the line. But Will Goldman, who we'll talk about here in a second, is going to garner a lot of money. So I'd probably put $2 to $5 on all of the quarterbacks. Running backs, though, let's get into those guys. Justin Jackson. Chargers play the Dolphins next week. Hopefully, Chargers have a good game, but I have a feeling just because I know my team that we're going to Charger and we're going to lose to the freaking Dolphins. I already know it. Jamal Williams I'd pick up as well. He's moving into a timeshare with Aaron Jones. He outperformed Aaron Jones today. Even though Jones had the 2 touchdowns, Jamal Williams looked like the better back. Jeff Wilson Jr., like I said, he's the vulture, as we're calling him. He's the goal line back there in San Francisco, and you might actually be able to sneak him past waivers and pick him up as a free agent after the waiver period, especially since they're going to be on bye week. People tend to only look at projected points for the next week, and since he's going to have 0 projected points for the next week, hey, you might not have to pay anything for him. Most of those guys are going to be right in between that $2 to $10 range. Goldman, he's going to probably garner $10 to $20 out of your bank, because now he's the go-to guy. Usually when a big name running back goes down, their backup is usually, garners a lot of attention. Receiver-wise, Hardman or Robinson in Kansas City. Like I said, they're playing that Tyreek Hill position pretty well. I'd probably put $10 to $15 on them. Chark, you got to go with Chark, man. He's the go-to guy right now in Jacksonville. I like him. His dances are super weird in the end zone, but whatever. I'd probably go about $9 range for him. And then Aguilar. This one's going to be tricky because if Deshaun Jackson plays next week, you spent $10 on a guy who's going to be sitting the bench. So buyer beware with him. Watch out for Deshaun Jackson. Keep an eye on him as well. Tight end wise, Lance Hendrick. Look for him. He's the Chargers tight end. Hunter Henry is out. Virgil Green is out. So now Hendricks is going to be the guy. Philip Rivers loves throwing to tight ends. Him and Gates have the most touchdowns between a quarterback and tight end combo, and the second most touchdown combo of any quarterback receiving option duo in the league. So he loves throwing to tight ends. He loves throwing to Hunter Henry, but Hunter Henry and Virgil Green are both going to be out. So look for Lance Kendrick. And then Jason Witten. This is just because, tight end position is so slim. He's going to get you at least 3 points. He can even get you upwards of 12 points. So look for them. I'd probably put $5 on them as well. And then guys that you probably don't need to put waiver wires on, but definitely you want to handcuff, is going to be Tony Pollard and Alexander Mattinson. Get ahead of injury, especially Dalvin Cook. He tends to be injury prone, so Mattinson would be a good option for you. Pollard had 100-yard running, and he was possibly going to be, the solo guy if Zeke held out into the season. So if you want to get ahead of any waiver claims that might happen if there is an injury to Zeke or Cook, definitely pick up either Tony Pollard or Alexander Mattinson. But that'll be it for us today. Best of luck to you. The Sunday night football game is still going, so we can't really break that down right now. Hit us up on Instagram, Slumpbuster Podcast. Follow us. We put up some funny pictures, some memes. We put up some polls as well. Just follow us for content, news, stuff like that. Also, you can look at us on our website, theslumpbuster.com. We put up power rankings. We put up news. We put up fantasy football weekly rankings as well. Follow us on Twitter, Slumpbuster Pod and Slumpbuster FFB. Like I said, on Sundays, we answer all of your questions for lineup. We can also, if you want to send us some trade analysis as well, we can help you out with some trades. But always like us, rate us, review us, subscribe to us. We're on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. Share us with all your friends. Help us grow out. We're just here to have fun. We hope you guys have fun as well. As always, talk crap to all your mates. And, hey, bust a slump during the week and listen to the podcasts. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.